This is the majesty of taiko drumming, a Japanese tradition rich in history. Today, audiences flock to performances because they're beautiful, fascinating, and entertaining. But taiko drumming started as something else entirely.
Well, there's a modern history and then there's the ancient history. The ancient part of the history is that it is deeply woven into the Japanese culture and was not used in an entertainment sense. It was much more ritualistic, so it was seen in shrines, it was seen in other rituals. Later, you saw taiko move into the more festival scene. Then you saw harvest festival, spring festival, in a more celebratory way.
The music was also once used on battlefields as a way to communicate and mark territory. But there's another story in the beat.
We think taiko drumming sound is beat of your heart. Another was it's related to everybody, from a baby to old people. Since you are inside of mom, you are hearing heartbeat. That is the sound of taiko.
Performance director Greg Williams was drawn in the first time he heard the sound of the taiko.
I started in 1998. I saw them perform at the Hatsume Festival at the Murakami Museum in Delray Beach. It called me from the parking lot. I just saw these people performing. By the end of the show, I was in the front row with the little children. It makes people laugh, it makes people cry. It really just brought me in from the very get-go.
The taiko drums, they bring this vibe of celebration and they have a very inviting feel to them. So when someone hears the taiko in the distance, it draws them to the drum. And so that lends a lot of power to a lot of gatherings.
The word taiko literally means fat drum, and as you can see, the drums themselves are works of art.
There are different ways of making taiko. Typically you're seeing wood and leather and metal as the elements that they're constructed out of. Ideally, it's made out of a single piece of wood. It has a much better vibratory response.
Fushu Daiko's first drum was made from a whiskey barrel. The barrel design of the taiko is the reason for the compelling sound.
Well, the power of the taiko is coming from the emptiness of the drum. And it's the space inside the drum that allows for these vibrations to resound. And it's that emptiness that we project our energy through, and it hopefully becomes amplified and becomes an even bigger signal. So the taiko acts almost like a prism for me. I can express through my physicality into the drum, which creates this large voice and projects it over the audience.
Physicality is an understatement. Taiko drumming is where athletics meet art.
When we're in the dojo, which is where we train, we use a lot of repetition, a lot of stamina training, so that when it's time to actually do a performance, we've got plenty of power to make it through.
You're gonna have all your power. Bring up.
Ow.
Taiko is very physical, it's athletic, it's aggressive, it's martial, it's not violent. And it's a great release for pent-up emotional stuff, which we all have.
Add emotion into the mix and you start to understand taiko's enduring appeal.
There is something very basic, very visceral, very animal about the taiko drumming that I think appeals to people in a very physical sense that their mind doesn't have to understand. It feels good, it gets them in their gut, and it could be an older person or a younger person. It really has broad appeal.
It takes a certain amount of effort, a certain amount of willpower, but it's a joyous kind of pain and struggle. It also brings us very close as a group too. You know, when you sweat and try your hardest to do something, you become close, and it's a nice, honest expression that I do enjoy.
Today, there are taiko drumming groups around the world. Our own Fushu Daiko was started over 20 years ago by Yoshiko and Charles Kane, a married couple fascinated with the art of taiko. Fushu Daiko is made up of South Floridians from every culture.
Over the years, we've had people from every background and religion and all come together to play these drums and to come together as a community. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's something that's worth sharing, with the public.